Before we move to the next segment, I would like to invite a speaker from the Technology Trendsetter session, Ms. Garima Kapoor. I have the honor of introducing Ms. Garima Kapoor to the stage. Ms. Kapoor is the co-founder and COO at Minio, a cloud storage company that addresses the problem of the cost of storage by providing a unique suite of features to protect data within and across clouds. Prior to her position as COO, Ms. Kapoor served as the CFO at Minio. I am impressed and inspired by Ms. Kapoor's efforts as an angel investor to various startups such as Insolvent, Procurify, H2O.ai, and HelpShift. She is an active investor and advisor to emerging tech companies in the Silicon Valley. Today, she'll be speaking on the domain trends in Minio and her company's unique value proposition. Please welcome Ms. Kapoor, EVOLV Advisory Council member, onto the stage.
Hi everyone, this is Garima. First of all, thank you for having me here. Thank you, Ram, for involving me in this initiative. It's a privilege. And when I was given this topic of trendsetters, I really did not know how to think about it, because trends usually in startup worlds are not considered to be a very positive thing, because any startup that is built on trend is not meant for a long-lasting startup. So I was not sure how to interpret the topic, but what we will do today is that we'll go through the trends through the lens of what we are doing here at Minio, and I'll walk you through what Minio is all about. Back in 2014, and like all founders, we were going through this phase of soul searching, what we need to do next, and as part of it, we wanted to pick a problem that was simple, the problem that would remain relevant over a long period of time, and a problem that is going to become exponentially relevant. And no matter where we look, data was a problem that was important to all of us within the room, within the co-founders of the team. And we felt that with all the devices producing data around us, with enterprises generating a lot of data, this problem is not going to go away. If you see the statistics, the data has grown from 22 zettabytes, and it is projected. And one of the things with data is that you can approach that problem from two ways. Either you can derive insights out of the data, which is where a lot of the machine learning, AI, ML tools come into place, or you can approach it from the storage standpoint, that is storing the data, making the data available for your applications in a reliable and a performant way. So we at Minio actually chose to approach the problem from the storage standpoint, building a large-scale scalable solution so that the data is available for your applications, and also it is performant enough to deliver the performance for your AI ML stack of applications if you choose to bring it on. And right when we were starting Minio, AWS, which is Amazon's cloud, was convincing the world that AWS cloud storage is the right kind of technology to bring your data on. And we knew that no matter what Amazon does, they cannot be the world's data center. There are not enough pipes in the world to make them the world's data center. So we started with a simple hypothesis that, okay, Amazon cloud storage will be relevant within AWS, within Amazon, but what about the world outside of it? Because that's where the bulk of the data is getting generated, whether it is, whether it is edge devices, whether it is IoT, whether it is within your own data centers. That's where the bulk of the data is, and we went after to approach that market. So in true sense, AWS is the real trendsetter here when it comes to convincing the world in terms of the right technology to store the data. And from Minio's standpoint, we knew that what matters is not who is the first mover here, but what matters is who stands at the end of the day when all the dust has settled. And if you see from the statistics standpoint, we are open source first company, software defined. You can download our software. Within 5 minutes, you can have your own cloud storage. And from 0 lines of code to now, we have around 1 billion Docker downloads, which is the downloads in the new world. And around 1 million plus downloads happen for our product every single day. So that's the power of Minio and the simplicity. I think one of the things that a lot of people ask us is that what makes Minio so popular? There are 100 reasons that marketing can list, but if you have to ask me, there's only one reason, that is the simplicity of the product. I think simple things scale, simple things work. If you can solve the problem within 2 minutes, you should be solving the problem within 2 minutes. It should not, the enterprise products don't have to be clunky and bulky. Enterprise products need to be simple. There is a consumerization of enterprise products that is happening, and it needs to be a simple way to solve complex problems. I think that's just the way to go, and that's the right way to build the enterprise products. So I think that has been the real reason why Minio has been so successful this far, and we have bigger land grab than AWS in a lot of ways when it comes to ecosystem standardization as well as the deployment. We are even deployed some part in Antarctica, I don't know where, just because of open source nature. People have done crazy things with our software, which is all welcome. So that's another trend that we see, that that moving forward, the enterprise products will have a foundation in open source. And open source is the right way to lead and build your products. And that has been, I think, established multiple times over with different enterprise products. If you see from AI, ML tooling standpoint, OpenAI is leading the trend there. Also, if you see from TensorFlow, if you see Kubeflow, they are all having open source foundations to it. So open source is a trend that we see is going to continue to grow to build the quality and enterprise products across different enterprises. Yeah. So in terms of how we see the future getting defined, right? The future is going to be software defined. So the future, what we see is going to be software defined, first of all. It's going to be built on the cloud native stack foundation, whether it is, the tooling when it comes from compute, whether it is cloud native tooling from Kubernetes standpoint or from object storage standpoint when it comes to storage. So those are going to be the foundation when it comes to building anything, any modern data stack, as I would say. And what are enterprises doing with Minio is primarily that they are building not only a scalable system to store the data, but also they are building a system to make this data accessible to their data analytics application stack. So whether it is AI ML workflow or whether it is big data workflow, they are all standardizing on S3 object storage, which is Minio. And if you see that AWS, when they started, S3 was the first service, their cloud storage was the first service that they started with, and then everything was built around it from ecosystem standpoint. So that is what customers are doing with Minio as well. They are laying the foundation of storage. They want to make sure that the data is available wherever they go, whether it is on-prem or in Google Cloud or in Azure Cloud. So it's important that you have a consistent storage infrastructure no matter where you go, because data has gravity. It takes time to move the data around. It is not a very easy problem, especially when there are different clouds which are incompatible with each other. If you see Azure, Google, AWS, they don't talk the same language. Azure has its own set of language, which is Blob API. Google has its own set of language, which is JSON API. They are all inconsistent with each other. So if you really want to have freedom from any kind of vendor lock-in, you need to standardize on open source stack. You need to standardize on open APIs, and that is where Minio comes into play. So we have tons of testimonials from the customers, happy customers, and we are looking to grow our adoption within the data infrastructure space, and we look forward to growing from here. Thank you.
Now I would like to please ask Dr. Prasad and Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee to come up and recognize Ms. Kapoor with the Technology Trendsetter plaque. Please give another round of applause.